Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Caravan of Garbage, where we're going through the Lord of the Rings trilogy regular edition.
Regular edition, no extended editions for us. Thank you very much. We only have so much life left to live.
It's true. Also, we're saving it for a future video where we do all the extended ones. We do this again.
Yay.
We do it again, Mason.
Yay.
You say yay because good movie?
Yep, it is good.
Yeah?
Yeah, so far, yeah.
So far? Wait, did you stop watching it? Because you have to finish the movie to talk about the movie.
All right, hang on. Let's pause briefly. Good all the way through.
So you stopped the last 10 seconds, did you? You just finished it then?
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Good stuff. Please leave a like, because we always finish the movies before we talk about them, right?
That's right. It's a low bar to clear, but we did it, so give us a like.
Absolutely. So this has an incredible opening, right? It's based on a painting by John Howe, who of course came on board for this production. So his painting is just Gandalf like riding the Balrog down, but they obviously expand on all of that.
Riding on down like he's Tony Hawk and the Balrog's a sweet
skateboard.
Here's a brand of skateboards. It's on screen. We'll put it on screen for you. Tony Hawk brand skateboards.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So New Line, apparently, they originally wanted Cate Blanchett to do a recap.
To do the Balrog?
Yeah, man. Get in there.
Wow.
No, they wanted her to do a recap of what happened in the previous movie. You know how they opened the last one? Mm-hmm. And Peter Jackson was like, no, people probably get it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why you would go into this not watching the first one, but,
yeah,
you know, it still works,
He
I
said
think.
people have probably seen it on DVD because DVDs are still currently a thing.
They're real.
For now.
That's right.
What did he know? What did he know?
What did he know? So apparently Gandalf and the Balrog fall for approximately 71 seconds. Given the terminal velocity is around 53 miles per second, that means that they fell for 3,763 meters.
He's doing all this off the top of his head,
Or about
folks.
2 1/3 miles.
Okay.
That's a long time to be attached to a screaming monster that's on fire falling to your doom.
Or an old man in weird robes and he probably smells odd.
They were both having a bad time.
Yeah.
Yeah. God damn.
But what a hell of a fall, hell of a scene.
Yeah.
And when Gandalf recaps it later, you know, his battle with the Balrog, he's probably only lying a little bit.
You think he didn't really do all of that?
I don't know. I reckon probably they left as friends. There's a hearty handshake, and they're like, "This actually was a misunderstanding. I understand we were in your house, Mr. Balrog."
Sure. So you're saying Gandalf went to like a hair salon and not to heaven?
Correct,
And was
yes.
sent back?
That's right, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's cool stuff.
He had to go to the salon twice because once he came out and the hair was purple. You know that happens sometimes?
Oh, then he had to go another salon to
Yeah.
get it fixed. Yeah. That has happened to me. Yeah, absolutely. So he's the White Wizard now. He gets a promotion for being a rad dude. He gets to heaven and they're like, good job. You're one of the few wizards who actually did some good shit in this world. Some turn evil. Some just dick around or disappear. You know?
Bombadil.
Yeah, Bombadil. That's right. The wizard with bird shit down his face from The Hobbit. Yeah. This is basically Gandalf with all the safeties taken off.
Yes.
And given more like direction and purpose. That being said, he's not in it very much, is he?
No, but I mean, his scene's very impactful. Like,
Yeah.
you know. Look, I'll ask you first. Who's your favorite team in this? Because they split them up into 3 teams.
Oh, yeah.
And
Good
mine
question.
is 100% Gandalf, Legolas, Aragorn, Gimli.
Yes.
That's that scene where Gandalf is like crossing the throne room to remove
God!
to remove the spell off the king.
Off the captain of the Titanic.
Exactly, and all the guards are coming in, but all his bros are just they don't have their swords or their axes or their bows anymore, but they're just laying into these guys, and Gandalf's just walking through like he's walking in between the raindrops. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. And now, hell of a scene.
God, it feels like it, doesn't it?
Anyway, but the other 2 teams are your favourites, I assume.
No, that's the best team.
Yeah, it's 4 guys who know what they're doing.
Absolutely. So, yeah, this was the hardest movie to make for reasons that you're talking about because, well, first of all, it's the book is like weirdly structured.
By that you mean boring.
No, Mason.
Oh, because I meant boring.
Oh, okay. So half of the book
Just kidding, I've never gotten as far as the 2 towers.
but boring. So it's structured so there's a focus on Aragorn, Gimli, Legolas, and Gandalf. And then during the novel, they do all of that. Then they cut back to Sam and Frodo. So they don't really intercut. Also, there's like a brand new style of CGI character in this. A lot of this was shot at night in the rain. It's also the middle part of a narrative. So like there's not really a proper beginning or end. But also, you can just kind of launch into it. Like, you just assume that people know who the characters are. But there's a bunch of stuff that they changed for this, though. Like, Aragorn never goes missing. Treebeard immediately goes to war in the book. The Two Towers...
Who are you guys? I'm going to war. Treebeard also, he's like, one of the hobbits is like, oh, the tree is talking. And this guy's like, a tree? How dare you? That's vegetation racist. I'm not a tree. What's your name? Treebeard. My friends call me Tree. But you're not my friend yet.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah.
Now let's go to war.
Absolutely. The Two Towers might mean a different thing in the book, though Tolkien's like mentioned it a couple of times. Okay. But they definitively name them like in this movie.
Do you think he meant, those two towers?
Oh, do you think he meant that?
I don't know, man. Do you think he meant that?
I don't think anything. I've never had a thought. You know that.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not going to start with that one either.
Well, then I guess that mystery will remain unsolved.
Absolutely. Also, Shelob, the giant spider who appears in the third movie, actually takes place in the second book.
Oh.
But structurally, timeline-wise, that does happen when it happens in the movie, if that makes sense. They kind of juggled that around a bit. So instead of fighting a giant spider, which is cool, they hang out with David Wenham, which is cool.
It's still pretty cool.
Still pretty cool.
That guy was in the movie Proof, but not the one you're thinking of, the other one.
The other one?
The one where Hugo Weaving's blind.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah. He was also in the TV show Sea Change for a bit.
He sure was.
He was
had those incredible abs, do you remember?
Oh my God.
Those glistening, those bronzed abs.
You talking about 300?
No, I'm talking about Sea Change.
Oh, Diver Dan.
Yeah, that's right.
Diving Daniel, as we call him.
That's right.
Yeah. So Faramir in the book also, he's not super interesting as a character. But, being Boromir's brother, they obviously wrote in that he would be tempted by the ring.
Right.
But in the book, he's quoted as saying, I would not pick this thing up if it lay by the wayside, which kind of robs it of its power to be like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. Get out of my face. It's not very interesting. But there is love in this, Mason. There's a love triangle of sorts. Arwen, Horse Girl.
Yep. Aragorn.
Yeah. Miranda Otto, who's a great inclusion to this. She actually ends up with Faramir. So, that's pretty good.
A real Ron Weasley, Hermione Granger situation. Just some leftovers.
Yeah, who's
left? We're not overly concerned.
Yeah.
Just put them together. I don't care.
How you feeling about horse people, though? I'm not a horse person. A horse is like a dog that I can't read and that can kill me with a single kick. I don't like that. How are you on that, though? How are you with horses?
I mean, the only thing I like about horses is they could kill me with a single kick. So otherwise, I'm indifferent, I guess.
Okay, cool.
I rode a horse a couple of times as a kid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know you're a fancy little lad. Prancing around.
Of course you knew I was a fancy little lad. I'm bringing Ascot right now.
But when you introduce Rohan, you get amazing cast members. As mentioned, Miranda Otto, Carl Urban, Brad Dourif, Bernard Hill. Bernard Hill, R.I.P., by the way. Fucking incredible performance in this.
Agreed.
Just a man too old to be having to deal with this. And he looks so good, when he comes out of the spell and the way they shift from really old to just old. God, he looks so fresh-faced.
He probably went to that same salon that Gandalf went to.
He probably did. That moment where he discovers his son has passed and he has that line about no parent should have to bury their child. Just fucking heartbreaking. I think that might be my favorite scene in this and performance in this entire trilogy.
Even more than Andy Serkis?
Well, we'll get to Andy Serkis. Anyway, the best. Anyway, let's talk about Gollum. So originally this was just a voice acting role.
Because he's briefly in the first one, but you don't really see him. He's in shadow.
He looks different because they redesigned him for this.
To look like Andy Serkis.
To look more like Andy Serkis.
No, to look exactly like Andy Serkis.
exactly like Andy Serkis. So what they do, they put him in a grey onesie. They'd film the scenes with him and then film them without. And then they realized they didn't play as well if he wasn't in them. So they digitally erased him and then they put in the digital Gollum. But of course, it's harder than that because you have to mocap him separately and then put him in. And because mocap technology wasn't quite there yet, often you'd have to keyframe the animation. All the face is mostly...
I'm understanding all of this.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
All the
rotoscope?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, a lot of it is rotoscoped, yeah. It's basically rotoscoped, yeah. A lot of the face is also keyframed animation, which means, because now you do the dots, right? Like technology's come a long way. They got one of the painters who normally, works on real stuff to learn to paint digitally. So he's got that kind of translucent look to him because there's layers to his skin. You can see the light kind of going through it.
He's
and
like one of those
speckles.
fish. He's like one of those fish from deep underwater.
Yeah, exactly. He's got Peter Jackson's feet.
Okay.
Yep. They
All
put
right.
them in.
Wow. You're giving those away for free, Peter Jackson. I guess he's got enough money now.
He's got enough money, yeah. Andy Serkis lost his voice multiple times, so he had this Gollum juice he used to drink, which is a mixture of honey, lemon, and ginger. But that gave him a stomach ache. And also, when he would act this out, everybody else is in beautiful costumes, relevant to the Tolkien kind of universe.
He's in the onesie.
And he's in the onesie, so people were kind of like, "Is this anything or going to work?"
Because again, this was in an era.
I mean, there was Jar Jar Binks, which was good, but people hated that character.
Yeah. But this is a pre-Marvel era where you couldn't trust that if you were looking at a green screen thing on a set, that it would end up looking any good.
Oh,
at all,
yeah, absolutely.
You know? You'd have no idea.
Absolutely. I think also...
And now we're in a post-MCU world or a present-day MCU world where you probably don't know if it's going to look any good.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's probably going to be an okay movie.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably have that nanotech helmet that just sort of dissolves. That looks good,
Why
doesn't
they
it?
keep doing it?
Because it's easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
Anyone could do that.
Keyframes, rotoscoped.
Yeah. Andy Serkis.
That's right.
Claw.
He was Claw.
He was Claw. I think also there are moments in this where you can see it's not perfect because it is 20 plus years old, but it just doesn't matter at all.
Agreed.
It's just seamless in the performance. The moment where he goes down the river,
Who?
Gollum, where he's splashing after that fish.
Oh, yeah.
So good. And this was also the catalyst that made James Cameron go, I'm only going to make Avatar films. Oh, okay, we're there. I'm just going to do this, I guess.
Cool.
So yeah, good stuff. Anyway, trees. Tolkien loved trees. Did you know that?
I did.
He loved trees.
I didn't know it, but in retrospect, that makes a lot of sense.
He loved preservation of nature. A lot of these movies also focus around war and the mechanization of, because he was a World War I veteran. So that's reflected in a lot of the storytelling in this. Fangorn Forest, though, is fake. That's a fake forest.
Whoa, and that
which
was
Tolkien would hate.
probably made out of all the styrofoam and stuff.
Yeah, man.
Well, great work. Good work inspiring that, Tolkien. And you know how all the actors had to get to New Zealand on jet planes?
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that.
That's great for the environment, isn't it, Tolkien? It's
bad.
Well done.
It's actually bad for
Well
the
done,
environment.
Tolkien. Well done. I'm reading The Lord of the Rings right now on my iPhone, and when it gets out of date, I'm going to chuck it directly in the bin.
Oh my
in
God.
2 weeks. Didn't think about that, did you, Tolkien?
He didn't think about that.
No.
Yeah. So you probably know this, but he was really good friends with C.S. Lewis.
Oh,
They
yeah.
had very different philosophical beliefs. For one, that C.S. Lewis was believed in God
And fairies?
and fairies and other stuff and
Okay.
talking lions.
When they were probably just frogs or something.
Yeah, they were probably just frogs. And Tolkien very much wasn't. Apparently, Treebeard himself is based off C.S. Lewis, the voiced by John Rhys Davies, by the way, pulling dual roles in this one.
2 paychecks?
2 paychecks, you'd hope. He got 2 copies of Ben Affleck's Paycheck. DVD, it was the time.
It was the
era
time.
of-
Yeah. You could sell those for a packet now.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
yeah. So Treebeard also, he's a puppet, so they got Merry and Pippin up in there, but then they removed the face and digitally kind of squiggled around with it.
Oh, yeah, that'll do.
Keyframes, etc.
Sure.
I do love that bit where the last march of the Ents where they attack Saruman's tower, and there's a moment when it floods, and you just see one tree, not a tree, one Ent,
Racist. Vegetation racist.
one Ent runs in with his head on fire, dunk his head in the water. Just a really nice detail, mate. Love it. Building stuff.
Oh, yeah?
You good with your hands?
No.
All right. Oh, you're a fancy lad. I
That's
forgot.
exactly right.
You're wearing knickerbockers right now.
Yes, and silken gloves, so I can hold the reins of my show pony later.
So a lot of stuff going on here. They built Edoras, that hall of horses or whatever. They built that on top of a real mountain.
I would have called it Horse Hall, but all right.
I agree. Took 8 months to build, and it was an 8-day shoot. Windy as shit, just whipping around, but they did it. They would not do that now. Helm's Deep was built in an old quarry, and then they did a 4-month night shoot in there. They also built a giant, I think it's a third the size of Helm's Deep replica, which you see in the background of shots. The ramp at the back. That's real.
Yeah.
But it's using forced perspective to make it look like
A bigature.
a bigature. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a bigature. We can talk bigatures as well.
A ramp worthy of Tony Hawk himself.
That's right. And they built a 20 meter across scale model where they blew up the wall. And
Yeah.
that's a real explosion happening, and it looks phenomenal. I love all of that, Mason. Yeah, and just that idea, that whole sequence is reflective again of Tolkien's experience, because a lot of, like I said, a lot of things in this based on his own experience in World War One. The Dead Marshes is probably him fighting in the trenches and
Yeah, those
all of that, yeah.
spooky corpses under the water bar.
yeah,
Chilling.
seeing children
They were just chilling.
they were
I
just
assume.
chilling. Yeah, they were cool bros underwater.
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah. like children like gearing up for war. Aragon does a little pep talk. He's like, this is a good sword. I don't think it is. I don't think it's that good. But that's what you say.
It's what you say to the kids who are going to die.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
This sword's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you die, it's your fault.
That's right, exactly. And you've let down your dad's sword. I don't know where he is. He's probably taking a nap.
Yeah, in one of his investment properties.
The fighting in this, it was choreographed by Bob Anderson.
Who's Bob Anderson?
He was a world-renowned fight choreographer. He was a stuntman. He taught fencing. He taught Errol Flynn how to sword fight.
Whoa.
And he also did Darth Vader's fighting sequence in A New Hope.
All right, okay.
Yeah, which is, by today's standards, it's a little clunky, but that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yep.
That's awesome. So he also said that, I think it was Viggo Mortensen. Viggo Mortensen.
Yes.
He was like the best sword fighter he's ever seen. So that's pretty good.
Seen.
Ever seen, yeah.
Wow.
And he knew Errol Flynn, a notoriously bad guy.
Well, yeah.
But he is Australian.
That's true. He's one of ours. He's our Ezra.
He really is. Also, Helm's Deep, you probably realize this, but it was just a miserable experience. Again,
fine.
4 months.
Fine and fun.
4 months in the dark. Everybody's kitted out in armor, but the Uruk-hai had it the worst because they've got the armor on top of wet prosthetics.
Yes.
And then they try and dry them out during the day and not even really get there. And then it's like putting on a wet wetsuit.
Yeah. And I mean, best case scenario, you dry it out over a fire and it shrinks.
Yeah.
And the next day you put it back on and it's even tighter than it was.
Yeah, absolutely. It's squashing my head,
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Arwen was going to be there. Liv Tyler filmed a bunch of this. She also trained for it because they were like, how are we going to bring these two together? Like, this is a love story, but they don't meet in this movie and it's not in the books. So that leaked online that she was going to be there and fans flipped out.
In a good way?
No.
Oh, no.
So part of the reason that they took it out, a big part is because of the reaction. So they ended up doing it in there's a flashback where he talks to Hugo Weaving and they have a dream sequence.
Yes.
So they ended up cutting it that way, which I think still totally works. But they couldn't cut out the elves turning up, which doesn't happen in the book. But whatever. An elf can show up.
Yeah.
An
They're
elf
mystical
can
and
show
whatever.
up.
They're
Yeah.
mystical and whatever. It's fine.
Mystical and
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know about Massive? You know about this?
No.
I'll tell you about it.
All right.
I'll tell you about
What do you
it.
mean massive?
Do you know how things are massive?
Yes.
It's not like that. So basically, this is a simulation which they designed for this movie where you get crowd sequences and armies fighting together. And each of them has a very basic AI brain.
Right.
Very simple. And then you just let them go and they kind of do their own thing. They basically have a few programmed reactions and whatever. And then they do that.
Surprise, attack,
Yeah.
dab,
Yeah.
assorted Fortnite dances.
Exactly,
I understand. Sure,
yeah.
yeah.
So a lot of that Helm's Deep stuff, not all of it, but the stuff that's way back is massive. And you wouldn't really know that. I mean, you couldn't do it for real, obviously, but the way they simulate it, it's really seamless. And often they'll have the army, the CGI army, march past the camera. And I guess also because of the way they light it, the way they they put it together. It's just that whole sequence. That's what people remember from this movie, right? That battle. And then Gandalf comes over the hill and he goes, I got a horse and some sun.
They do remember that, yes.
That's what I remember from
Yeah,
this. I love all the creatures in this as well. The fell beast. The riders lost their horses in the river, so they're like, we're doing big snake dragons.
Yes.
That's good stuff, man. Love all of that. The wargs, the dog, rat,
Yep,
hyena
sure.
creatures.
Yes,
Even the way they had to design those because it doesn't run like a horse. It's kind of front heavy like a hyena, but it's got a weird spine, so you got to kind of sit him a certain way. It's all very good stuff, Mason. I don't mind telling you that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate being told.
Yeah, that's good. Mason,
Yes.
is this true?
I don't know what's true, James.
It's thoughts and prizes.
Oh, I guess it's true.
It's true.
I mean, a part of it is true.
Yeah.
You say some thoughts and then you claim that you're going to provide some prizes.
Because there's
that you
prizes sometimes.
What are the prizes?
This week, let's find out. I'm just looking here. It actually says I have no additional thoughts this week. But that doesn't necessarily mean that there are no prizes because that's on me because I have to bring the thoughts. And if I don't bring the thoughts, that doesn't mean everybody else should suffer and not get prizes just because I forgot.
So are there any prizes?
Well, it also says here, but for this week, that also means that there are no prizes.
Who's writing this?
Who is writing this?
Yeah.
Who should we talk to?
I think you should talk to a psychiatrist.
Yeah, mate. Well, I do, but
A good one.
Yeah, a
That
good
helps,
one.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll look into it.
Okay, great.
Do people mind if I just go away and break this down and maybe come back next week with some more thoughts and prizes.
And a note from your psychiatrist.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure they'd appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. I love that. Anyways, you know what it's time for also?
Is it time for some sort of trivia?
Yeah, it's the 2 trivias.
Whoa.
But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trivias this
Whoa,
week.
so that's 3 groups of 2 trivias.
It would be. You could look at it that way. He kicked that helmet. You want to do this one?
Yeah. Viggo Mortensen,
Yeah.
he kicked that helmet. He was mad. And then he's like, because he broke his toe, I
He
reckon.
broke his toe doing it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but he was in the moment. And they were like, great acting. And he's like, no, I broke my toe when I did that, or a couple of toes kicking that helmet.
God damn, that is good acting.
Yeah, it was good
Wow.
acting.
Now let's act like we're going to bring the medic in. Here he comes. Here he comes. He's going to put a splint on your toe. All right, let's wrap, everybody. See you later.
Well done, everyone. He also chipped a tooth in this. He snapped his tooth like through the middle.
When he tried to bite that helmet.
Yeah, that happened too. And then he was like, just super glue it back in and we'll keep going. And they were like, no, let's go to a dentist.
Yeah.
So they took him to a dentist and fixed it
Yeah.
and brought him back. Also, Orlando Bloom cracked a rib. There's a running joke in the, if you watch all the behind the scenes stuff, which I do. It only takes you 127 hours like the movie. R.I.P. James Franco. We'll never know what he was really like, a dog. But yeah, like he kept complaining about it. And everyone's like, oh, you cracked your rib, did you? Yeah, it's still sore, is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, well, it's been a while, but I'm sorry you cracked a rib.
Wow, you seem to have been complaining for the exact amount of time it takes to heal a cracked rib. But all right.
Brett Beatty, who's also Gimli's stunt double and the stand-in, size appropriate, he dislocated his knee. So there's a sequence at the start where Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli running, and they're all in real life fucked up, and they're just but they have to just sprint just for miles at a time, and they've got a helicopter following them at one point.
With Peter Jackson, with a loud hailer being like, "Run faster! Act like I haven't injured you."
Too slow for an elf. On the wall of Helm's Deep during battle, did you see the one-eyed dude who turns to camera and he's got the
one
empty
eye?
socket? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that's not CGI. This extra showed up and he had an eye patch and Peter Jackson's like, what's the deal with this?
Have you come already prepared in costume? 'Cause,
Yeah.
We encourage that.
Yeah. He was like, what's under there? And he's like, I don't have an eye. And they're like, we're putting it in.
Nice.
I love
Not
it.
the eye. We're not putting the eye
No.
in. We don't know where it is.
Yeah.
So we can't help you in that regard.
No, but you can be in a movie, which is just as good as having an eye. The extended version of this reveals that Aragorn is actually 87 years old.
Whoa.
That's due to the fact that he's a descendant of the Dunedain, and they love having a long life and then getting a wife, which is what happens.
That's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
On Miranda Otto's first day of shooting, Liv Tyler welcomed her by saying, I'm so glad there's another woman in this film. Big shade on Kate Blanchett, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's nice to have some women in these movies, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, they are bros movies for bros.
It's true.
But women are allowed also.
It's a bros time, but yeah, women can come.
Yeah, sure.
Don't you think?
Yeah. If you like nature as much as all us bros do, I
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
you
yeah.
can come along.
Exactly. It's interesting because if you look at the Uruk-hai in this, they've got like grayer hair and blotchy skin, and apparently the backstory behind that is that they're starting to inbreed, so they're not coming out right.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's
What's the time frame on that? How long does it take them to breed more Uruk-hai?
like in a weird goo pod.
Yeah, in a goo
I
pod.
don't know. I've never done that, so I don't know. What do you think?
I don't want to think.
You don't want to think?
No.
Good. Yeah. Also, this is the only Lord of the Rings movie where Frodo doesn't put the ring on. Just carries it around.
Coward.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd simply put the ring on and then just walk to Mordor invisible
Yeah.
and then put it in Mount Doom.
No one would even know.
Yeah.
Put it on, dipshit. It is funny that when Bilbo puts it on, he's just like, eh. And when Frodo puts it on, he's like, ah!
Nightmare Shadow World.
But I guess things are ramping up, you know?
Yeah, sure, okay, yeah.
In the Nightmare Shadow World and all of that.
Oh, that's because Bilbo has an investment property in the Shadow World. He just hangs out in it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Invisible to anybody under the age of 90, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. Let me check my notes if I missed anything. Gandalf, 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 Gandalf. All right. The box office of this, it surpassed the last one with a return of $951.6 million on a budget of around $94 million. There also was reshoots on this. They all had reshoots. Like the story that was told was they filmed these all at once and they were all done, but that is not true.
Oh, what?
Peter Jackson filmed like I mean, he got through a lot of it, but yeah, after getting the first one out the door and doing well, that afforded him the ability to, like, he had the trust to go back and add some more stuff.
So true.
There is a deleted scene with Boromir, which is in the extended cut, and there's other stuff and whatever. But we're not here to talk about the extended cut. We're here to talk about a theatrical experience we're watching on television.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Or sometimes on our phone, depending on how much time we have.
That's right. Now, let's rank these movies, Mason.
Okay.
So last week, the best one that we'd seen was that one.
Correct, yes.
Out of the first two, what do you think?
I reckon maybe the second one thus far is the best one.
I always used to think it was the first one, but watching this again, I'm like, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I don't love the Frodo, Faramir, Sam stuff. I don't love that. I think it's kind of feels a bit like treading water. It's not uninteresting, but it's probably the least compelling element.
And for someone who's not being corrupted by a ring, Sam's getting pretty mean.
Yeah, Sam.
You know what I mean?
Be nice.
Be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're bros.
That's right.
Be nice to your bros. I think that's important.
It's a beautiful message.
It is, isn't it? Anyways, Lord of the Rings, Caravan of Garbage.
Believe it.
Believe it.
What if we stopped at 2?
We could.
That would be funny.
That would be funny if they did that in real
Be
life.
funny to us.
It would be funny.
Yeah.
It'd be like those Divergent movies. They just stopped.
But guess what? We recorded them all at the same time.
That's right. And we had to go back and do re-recordings, obviously.
Yeah.
But that is, just so people know, we didn't do that. I don't think I could do that. I couldn't watch all of this and all the extended and then keep that all in my head. It's just not possible. I don't know how anybody made these. It doesn't even make sense to me. It's incomprehensible.
Tell you what, they wouldn't make it like this these days, would they?
They'd make it worse.
They'd make the Hobbit movies. Or the War for the Rohirrim.
Yeah.
Out soon.
Yeah, I did an ad for it, I think. So check it out. I am looking forward to that, though, genuinely. This is not an ad. I don't care if you say it. But
How? We'll splice that into the ad?
We'll splice that into the ad. But yeah, we're doing video games in between. So next week we're going to look at Return of the King, the video game, and then come back. Because obviously these are very dense. So, we're going to get there. But if you do want to see these early, you can actually head over to bigsandwich.co where they always go up there early, don't they?
Yes.
There's also bonus movie commentaries. We do video game let's plays. We do bonus podcasts, don't we?
That's so true.
We also have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. That comes out every Monday, but early on Sunday. It's also on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, whatever.
Yeah, it's all the Apple stuff.
You'll
it's an
find
Apple
it.
TV Plus. We snuck it in there.
We did.
That's right.
Thank you so much to Ben and Maddie for the edit.
Thank you, Ben and Maddie.
We're having the best time of our lives here, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, we are. All right, and everybody else is. Thanks, and we got those matching Lord of the Rings Caravan of Garbage tattoos.
That's right. Mine says potatoes. And I got another one just early. It says, looks like YouTube's back on the menu, boys. How did that orc know what a menu was? You ever think about that?
They don't have menus?
Yeah.
You don't think he's been to like a shop?
Where they have menus in a shop.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You don't think that?
No.
Yeah. It's a cultural reference that he would have heard,
Okay.
You've heard things that you've never experienced, right?
No. I've experienced everything.
Okay, no, don't worry. Disregard. Yeah. I forgot how fancy and well-learned you are.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, thanks, everyone.
Grab that, Jamie, guys. We'll see you next week.